You know Joel's my stepmom now.
She's been, just without you knowing.
Now that Noelle knows the news,
I'm sure she wants to kill me right now.
Joanne's boys are understandably heartbroken that their mother lied about her marriage for 2 years, but even they are handling this so maturely in comparison to her secret husband, who is pouting around like a teenager. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90 Day Fiance the other way, specifically Joanne and Sean. So picking up right where we left off, as you guys recall, Joanne broke the news to both her kids, her best friend, and Sean's kid that they are married and have been married for the last 2 years in secret. So obviously, they left us at that cliffhanger of everyone being like, what? And so in this week, we finally get to see them start to have the hard conversations, but it's going to be one of many because these two just don't get it. So before we get into that, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for being here. And yeah, so we see Joanne go off to have one-on-one time with her sons, away from Sean so they can, let out their real thoughts without having to worry, about Sean's feelings or Bella's feelings or Noelle's feelings. This is a moment with their mom, and she needs a wake-up call. So of course, the first thing they ask her is, why wouldn't you tell us? And she gives a bogus response about wanting to find the right time and wanting, them to meet him first before she tells him. And I just think that that's BS, because if you actually valued what that interaction would have been like, whether or not they would have a bond, you would have waited for that to happen before getting married. But you went off and did it anyway, which if I were her kid, I'd be like, it doesn't matter what I think, obviously. And so as they're having this conversation, Joanne is starting to feel guilty, which, good. She's seeing the hurt in their eyes, and these boys are being really polite. They are being really nice. They're not being brats about it. And if they were, again, it's in their right. They've been deceived for 2 years. But still, they're being so respectful. They're being so sweet to their mom. But she knows them, and she can tell that not only are they hurt, but they're holding back on a lot. And so the little one, who I already love, cuts straight to the chase. And he's like, okay, so you're married now? Where are we going to live? Because in his mind, of course we're a package deal, right, mother? And she says, I would like my home base to be Ireland. She doesn't say we. She says, I would like my home base to be Ireland. And so they are like, so are we moving to Ireland? And she's like, well, if you want, or, we have to have some conversations with your dad. And this part of the conversation, you guys, made me furious. You should be volunteering this information. They shouldn't have to ask you for details because you're being so vague. You're continuing to be unfair to these boys. She did not think about these boys when she made these decisions. These boys have never been to Ireland before this. They have their whole lives built in America. The oldest, speaks for the both of them, and he's like, what if we don't want to live in Ireland? Like, where will we live? And that broke my heart, because you shouldn't have to think about logistics. Your mother should. And so she's like, oh, well, no, I'm going to keep a place for you. Don't worry. Like, I'll always have a place in New York. But you could see that they're so concerned, because it's like they're an attachment to her. They're not part of her. And that may not be what she wants to you convey, but that is the message that you're sending. This feels so, oof. I don't even have the right word to describe it. It's not okay. Because they shouldn't have been put in this position, And Joanne shares her very naive dream, which I've said from the beginning. I don't know how, I don't want to pocket watch. I don't know how much she's making as a life coach, tarot reader. But this man doesn't have a job. He lives with his mom. I don't know how or in what world she thinks that she's going to be able to travel so often, where she can spend 2 to 3 weeks at a time, go back to Ireland, and then do it again. I don't see how she thinks that will be possible. Not only is it financially taxing, it'll be emotionally taxing and physically taxing for her, because she's not a youngin'. After a night out, I need to recover for like 2-3 days. A flight, don't even talk to me about it. She's much older than I am. So like, I don't think she's being realistic. And I think that she's saying this because she knows that she's being a bad mom and doing this. And so she's trying to be like, I can make everyone happy. And you can't. You can't. There have to be sacrifices made along the way. A more reasonable thing would be like, babe, we need to stay long distance until my boys are out the house. I will come visit you every 2 months. That sounds a little more realistic, still very expensive. But again, I just don't know why she put herself in this situation with a guy that can't even fly to her because of his visa troubles, which I don't even know if she really knows the details on that. And so she's going on and on about her plan to fly back and forth, and you can see the boys want to roll their eyes so bad, but they're just like, okay.
I'll definitely be home with you guys at least 2 to 3 weeks, and you know, a little workings maybe with some grandparents and good old dad of yours. We can figure out the calendar schedule.
And so she says, I'm not going to move without your blessing. Your blessing is important to me. And that is unfair. She's like, you guys are the most important thing to me. And I want to believe her, of course, right? Like, what mother wouldn't think that? But she's not recognizing that her actions aren't saying you are the most important thing to me. I've said it before that I think her continuing to say, well, I'm not going to do this without your blessing is a cruel position to put your kids, because if they do speak their mind and they say, no, like, we don't feel comfortable with this, we need you, like, they have to live with the fact that you could possibly resent them. And like, they shouldn't have to feel that way, because obviously they want you to be happy, but also they need their mom. Like, he's 12. The 12-year-old is crushing me. And you can see that he's trying to take cues from his big brother. And like, I love that he's being more, forward with the questions. But he shouldn't have to. And so this conversation is wrapped up with Joey, her oldest, being like, listen, I can speak for the both of us that we need to think on this and stew on this. And she's like, I understand, I respect that. And then they go off and we see them back at the castle with everyone getting back in the car to head back to the cottage that he rented. And in the back of the car, you can see the little girl talk to the little boy. And she's like, can you believe Joe is my stepmom? And Joe's younger son is like, well, she's technically been your stepmom for the past 2 years, apparently. And I was cackling. And then the oldest is like, yeah, I mean, Sean is my stepdad now. And Sean thinks, I think he's uncomfortable, but he's making jokes like, you don't have to call me stepdaddy, you can call me daddy. And I'm like, you're not funny. This is a very uncomfortable car ride. And very notably, Noelle, Joanne's bestie, is keeping a mute. And Joanne knows her bestie. And Joanne is like, oh my God, this girl is texting my mom right now. I can only imagine what they're saying about me. And I bet she is, because your mom told her to keep tabs on you. When they get back to the cottage, we see a quick scene with Sean checking in on his daughter. And his whole attitude throughout this has been annoying, because he's like, I expected her to be happy. Like, her reaction is weird. Like, why is she so down about it? You lied to her and you painted it as if you guys have the closest bond ever. This girl didn't even know that you had a girlfriend. She thought that Joanne was just your friend that you possibly liked, but you never told her that you were together. So in this one conversation, her reality is just in complete shambles, because she's like, oh wait, she was your girlfriend. And now wait, now I have a stepmom and it's been just you and I this whole time? And I just don't like that he's like, well, where's my congratulations? Process your daughter's emotions. She's 8. And along with that, not only is she just like, it's just been you and I, now I have a stepmom, but now I have 2 older brothers. Just, they're possibly all going to be in my space at all times. They look like they vibe, but again, this is just their first meeting. Siblings fight. So there's just a lot. Her little brain must be going through hoops right now. So when Sean checks in on her, she's like, hi, Dad, And he's like, I thought you'd be happy. And she's like, I am. It's just the fact that you kept it from me for so long. 2 years? And she's, she's speaking like a teenager in this moment. She's like, 2 years? Really? And I love that she tells him, listen, I'm fine with this, but if you have another secret, I'm never going to forgive you. And that is very bold and very grounded. Like, listen, I don't feel good about the fact that you lied about this for 2 years. Don't you ever do that again. She's so tough. I love this girl. Good for her. And the next scene is Noelle. And of course, Noelle is on FaceTime with Joanne's mom because she's like, can you believe? And Joanne's mom knew the secret. If you guys remember, Joanne broke it to her, but she was like, don't tell anybody. So Joanne's mom has been dying to talk about this with Noelle because she's not okay with all of this, right? And Noelle is conflicted, right? Because she tells the mom, she's like, I'm happy for my friend. Of course. I want her to be happy and find love. And her and Sean, like, they seem good together. But she has her whole life in New York. And now she's talking about moving to Ireland. And also 2 years of lies. And the grandma's like, yeah, but how are my grandbabies doing? How did they take it? And Noelle tells her, like, they're shocked about all of this. And grandma's like, listen, I've accepted that she's married. I will not accept her taking my boys. So that's going to be, an ongoing fight. The last moment that we see is between Sean and Joanne. I'm so annoyed by them. And the thing is, I want to like them, but they're acting like they're half their age and they don't have responsibilities, and it's pissing me off. Because Sean is like, there's just going to continue being questions and criticisms. And it's like, I don't feel bad for you because you've had a 2-year head start to gather some answers. Like, you owe it to the people that love you and to the people that depend on you. So I don't want to hear it. And I understand that it's overwhelming. I understand that, it's anxiety inducing for them because it affects so many people. And I understand that the weight of that responsibility is a lot. These youngins didn't ask to be here. And you are responsible for them. And you have to do right by them. And if doing right by them means you have to stay apart for some time, then that's what you got to do. But obviously, I think Sean, because he's not the one that has to do the legwork and moving, he's just like wants to speed by this. And for Joanne, it's very serious, Joanne is the one that's would be moving, and she is the one that would be breaking so many hearts in New York. So you can see the hesitance in her body, and that's going to cause some friction between them. And I honestly don't care. I want the kids to be okay. Joanne, you can go every other month or so. To think, I just can't imagine doing all that flying and spending all that money. And I don't think it'll make her happy because you're still going to miss out on big moments. There's just no way to make everyone satisfied. So yeah, that's it for them this episode. We will be keeping up with them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.